Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Parker Pod. It used to be the Excel Cast, but decided to switch the name up a little bit, kind of rebrand myself. Had a few life events that happened to me that caused me to take a little break from doing the podcast. But we're back and I plan to release at least twice a month, if not every week. That's the new plan going forward. Gonna have a few guests on this podcast that I feel like you guys would really enjoy. And not saying that now that we're the Parker Pod that we're moving completely away from the brand of Excelcast, but I do want to have a different variety of people on the podcast. People that have great stories to tell, people that have cool talents, interesting perspectives, everything that can just be better explained through a general podcast rather than a podcast that focuses solely on being excellent or being great. Those are a few things that I've taken a step back from just being that I got to a point in my life where I was go, 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 go all the time, consistently and constantly, always needing to be great. And it's a great mindset to have. It's not a bad mindset to have, but I put this standard on myself. And whenever I fell short of that standard, it spiraled and it got worse and worse and worse to the point where I wouldn't even address something if I couldn't do it 110%. Like, here's an example. When I used to run 5Ks, I used to do a 5K in like 24 minutes. When I took a break from doing 5Ks because I wanted to rest my body up, when I went back to running again, I was doing them in like 29 minutes, 28 minutes. And mentally, it was hard for me to even address the problem or address the challenge because I couldn't do it as well as I used to be able to do it before. So it made it almost like, well, why should I even run if I can't run how I used to be able to run? And that mindset led me to a entire subset of issues and problems where I wouldn't even want to address anything unless I could do it full extent and fully commit to it. Just like this podcast. I couldn't even do an episode of it. I couldn't even sit down and just talk and or invite people on because I was like, well, I can't do it twice a week like I was always doing before. So why even bother doing it at all if I can't do it twice a week and do it in the depth and the clarity that I want to do it anyway? But Jordan Peterson talks about this specific thing with a stack of papers. So if there's a stack of papers that you're not addressing and the stack keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, it gets to the point where there's no way you can take on that entire stack in just one sitting. You have to humble yourself enough to know, okay, maybe I can't finish that entire stack of work today, but I know that I can take 5 minutes out of my day in order to at least address the stack. And maybe I only get through 2 or 3 pages, but getting through 2 or 3 pages today, I can get through 2 or 3 pages tomorrow. It's going to get better and better than just letting that stack sit there and never addressing the issues or problems that arise because of that stack. Same thing with this podcast. If I had held off on completely doing it altogether just because I can't keep up and do 2 a week or maintain a 45-minute or an hour of content, then I'm never going to be able to fully address the fact that I want to do this in general. Recently with my life, I've been busy. I've been working at Amazon. I'm an area manager there. The Lakeland location down here in Florida takes about 48, 50 hours of my week up, including, and then I also have to like drive, go to the gym every day. So there's a few things that are holding me back from committing fully to this podcast right now, but all those are excuses. And that's a happy medium that I need to meet myself at. That saying that, oh, I can't do this because I have all this other work to do. Like, there's 3 days of the week that I have off. I could definitely produce and create and meet with someone and do a whole podcast within those 3 days in order to bring content every week to my channel. It was just a matter of addressing it and actually doing it and humbling myself enough to know that maybe these first few episodes aren't going to be exactly where they were beforehand. But if I never sit down and actually address the podcast and create a podcast, it's never going to work out in general. I did make some improvements to my setup, though. I do like this look a lot better, having the bookcase in the back, Kanye poster over on the side there, whiteboard. I got a room dedicated solely to podcasting right now, which is fantastic. I plan on getting other things to kind of make the room a little bit better. All that being said, though, if you are listening and there's something in your life that you're just not addressing, whether that be something in a relationship that you kind of just let slide, or whether that be a interest that you've always liked and either you don't believe in yourself enough to go after that interest and to pursue that interest, or you think maybe someone else isn't going to be a huge fan of it, someone who you admire, respect, or someone even who you don't admire, respect, but you just don't want to get made fun of for it. I think that you should lean in 110, 120% to that interest that you have, because that interest is going to drive you and give you the will to live. Andrew Huberman talks about this. Forget what it's called. Something mid-cingulate cortex, I think. I don't know. Anterior mid-cingulate cortex, something like that. He talks about it. And essentially when you do something that you've been putting off or that you don't want to do, or that is kind of like holding you back or restricting you in life, and you don't want to do it, but you go against that part of your brain that I had mentioned, I'm not going to keep butchering the name. That part of your brain that I mentioned, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it actually increases your will to live, because they found that people who live to be older, this part of their brain is bigger, meaning that they have faced more challenges throughout life. And the more challenges that they face, the more will that they have to live. So if there's something that's challenging you, whether it be just an interest or just a podcast or just listening to a book, reading a book, even in relationships, just addressing a point that maybe for years and years and years you haven't wanted to address because you don't know what's going to come of it, right? Like me restarting my podcast right now, I don't know what's going to come of it. I could post videos online, I could post clips online, and when I do all these things and I post all these things, I could gain another 100 followers, or I could lose 50 followers, because people are going to be like, well, he hasn't posted anything in forever. What makes us think that he's going to start posting stuff now? And those are just things that I have to deal with. They're things that I went through in my head, and I tried to myself over and get myself out of it. But truly, if I put all my effort into this as much as I can, and I have interesting people on here with interesting content, I truly believe that it's going to be a positive thing for me. And if it's not a positive thing for me, I hope it's a positive thing for someone else. This right here, this episode was me showing that even if there's something that you haven't been able to address recently, you should definitely take a crack at it. Because I haven't been able to address this podcast because of a plethora of things going on in my life. Plus, my computer crashed on me, so I had to buy a new computer, and it's honestly not the best, so I'm probably going to have to end up getting another one. But just made every excuse in the book that this happened to me, so I wasn't able to properly conduct my podcast. But all the stuff I've had now, I've had for over a month. So new arm, headphones, computer that can at least function before we get a great computer that can actually really do things that'll improve the podcast. But I've had these things for a month, so it's all just excuses. So any excuse you're telling yourself that's pushing you away from truly making yourself happy and truly pushing forward and growing, push all that excuse to the side, because you're worth the effort. You've always been worth the effort, and you always will be worth the effort. So with that being said, very short episode, just kind of rebooting. Thank you guys for listening, and hopefully the next episode we're going to be featuring someone very close to me. So be on the lookout for that, and follow us at the Parker Pod. We're only going to be on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. I tried all the other social medias out and everything, and it just got way too hectic. Different algorithms, different programmings. I just want to really lean and hone in on a specific aspect of podcasting and just make sure that I get all these things absolutely correct before I expand out. But thank you guys for listening. Stay blessed and have a great day.